Definitely worth your time. A very, very fun race last week, and a lot of money on the line as well. But here tonight, back to the regular season points racing here tonight. We'll go over the point standings here in a second. With just under 10 minutes left here in the practice session. Plenty of time there, as you see Fred who will make contact there. Now he's going to get loose. Or Brian Ludlow, excuse me, and a huge wreck with a couple of the other drivers there just kind of driving through that. Nine minutes, 16 seconds before we go to the qualifying session. We'll stick around here for about a minute or so, and then we will get into the point standings. Talk about Darlington a little bit, what we can expect from this track here tonight. So just sit tight. Still 9 minutes left here in the practice session. Get some game audio there for you, or some sim audio, if you will. I tell you, every time there's an update, something is a little wonky. I had to update my PC last night. I was wondering where my sound bar was for the desktop audio. I didn't realize we didn't have any. So I had to make a quick adjustment there. Get you guys some of that. All right, let's go through the points here. Again, last week, All-Star race, phenomenal. But it wasn't for the points. After week 4, of course, the season kicking off August 10th at Daytona, we've made it through Chicagoland, Atlanta, and Road America before getting into the All-Star race last night. So Darlington, after week 4, coming into week 5 here tonight. It looks like David Hara still your points leader with 142. Behind him, his teammate David Lurfano with 138. Patrick McQuaid, who's had a really, really good season up to this point, 136. Sitting there in that third spot. Now, David Lurfano having 2 wins. David Hara with a win. Those guys are essentially locked into the playoffs here. Patrick McQuaid, good on points, still looking for his first win. Joshua Hetrick with 124. Tyrone Yo, 118. John Higgins Jr. in that 19 car had a phenomenal race last week in that All-Star race. A little bit of back and forth luck for him. He's got 114. Larry Garnes and Brian Ludlow right above that cutoff line. We'll have to update these standings as I see some drivers who are no longer with us making their way on that list still. So we'll see how that shapes out after tonight's race heading into next week. But David Hara still points leader with his teammate right behind him, David Lurfano. Before we get settled into the qualifying session, we'll catch up with our good friend here, Chad Snyder, who just went for a spin there. We'll bring in that number 5 car of Assault Motorsports, Chad Snyder. Chad, how you feeling tonight?
Oh, I'm feeling pretty good, Faded. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. We saw you go for a little bit of a spill there. I figured that'd be the perfect time to bring you in here, talk about Darlington Raceway a little bit. You'll have to do a little bit of my own homework. I thought I owned this track. I had to just buy it before the broadcast, so it wouldn't feel right for me to try to chop up some lines about this track and kind of BS around it. So I figured we'll bring you in here and you can give us a little bit of track knowledge here at Darlington.
Yeah, for sure. You actually caught me in the middle of explaining myself in that little spill I took just there. But yeah, man, this place is really tough, really, really tough, as its reputation indicates. And I think it caught a lot of us by surprise on how actually tough it is in these race cars. It's yet another challenge thrown to us by this next-gen car. They're just really, really light off the turns here because they run a low downforce package here at this racetrack. So that being said, it's going to be, I have a feeling, a race of attrition tonight because there's going to be a lot of slipping and sliding, a lot of guys laying the car into the wall. It's really super easy to do. Like you said, I know you guys have probably been watching me. I've had a couple of issues just in the last couple laps trying to run. And it's going to come down to who has the patience to really back off and just kind of take what the car is going to give them. Yeah,
they call this track the Lady in Black, the track Too Tough to Tame, and the Darlington Stripe. And, of course, Lucky Dog Detailing 100 here at Darlington. We'll take a lap around with you, Chad, and just talk to us a little bit about what you're feeling in the car as you're going around.
All right, so I'm sitting here at the end of pit road, and I'm going to try to take a lap here. And hopefully I don't wreck with you guys on board because that would be unfortunate. But I cannot promise it won't happen. Yeah, very wide apron at this racetrack, so when you get out of here, you got to kind of know where the boundaries are so you don't end up with a black flag. But one thing you know about Darlington, if you've watched NASCAR, is there are two very different ends of this racetrack. This end that I'm in here is turns 3 and 4. Much, much tighter. You got to slow down a lot more, which is on my warm-up lap, so I don't have to slow down that much. But here we go. Over the start-finish. It's really kind of treacherous in the one here, but you can carry a lot of speed if you do it the right way. You can hold it almost wide open through the middle of this turn, but then you've got to back off just to get down away from this wall a little bit, or it'll pinch you on the way out. It's also really easy to spin off that turn. But you want to get it really weighed down really good here, because like I said, this turn's a lot tighter. You got to really wait on the gas here, get the car pointed in the right direction, and then hammer it off the turn, try to build as much momentum as you can to get back to the line. And these laps, it's one of the bigger tracks, but these laps go by really quickly. And it's really, really easy to get overly aggressive and get yourself in trouble here. So like I got into a little bit of a spot there where I hit the apron, the car got really loose, so I had to really back out of it. Again, running laps by yourself here is very challenging in and of itself. And you get, about 10 or 13 more of us out here at the same time trying to pass, slower cars and trying to pass the position. It's going to get really interesting.
Yeah, so around Darlington here, obviously we can see on the track map for the guys at home, 1 and 2 are not the same as 3 and 4 here. 1 and 2 being a much smaller side of the track before it opens up to turn 3 and 4. Talk to me a little bit about the difference here on how you approach these corners being as different as they are.
Well, going into 1 and 2, which is the more open side of the racetrack, you can use a little brake to try to help us set the car if you want, but you can really get away with not using a lot of brake here. You carry a lot of speed through this end of the racetrack, but it's very line sensitive, because if you don't hit that right line, you're going to get tight coming off that turn, and you're going to try to knock that wall down. Going into 3 and 4 here, you really slow down and let the car roll a lot more, and then you want to wait until the car, like I said, will point back down towards that apron. Well, not too much like I just did. And then once it gets pointed back down to that apron, if you've got a good set, you can turn and just kind of hammer it off that turn and get yourself a good run down that straightaway, which is really key to making lap time here.
Yeah, I actually had it backwards. Turn 1 and 2 is a little bit more of the bigger part of the track, and 3 and 4 much shorter there with those turns. So, Chad, practice session's over. We'll let you have plenty of time to get set for your qualifying mark. Thanks for joining us here tonight at Darlington. Good luck, and we'll talk to you.
All right, thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Chad Snyder, Assault Motorsports driver there, trying to find his footing with the next-gen cars. I'm sure he'll get it figured out there and start moving up into the points before we know it. 5 minutes of qualifying per usual. These guys will have 2 timed laps. Best of those 2 will be their qualifying time. Simple. We do it here every week. Looks like we have 14 drivers making their way to the track here tonight. Johnny may have surprised quite a bit of people last week in that All-Star race. He had a really good finish there. Finished in the money. Couldn't quite figure out his Cash App to be able to transfer it, so it's probably just sitting there collecting dust at this point. But we'll see how he does in the qualifying session. David Lurfano, David Hera. Charlie Dickey looking for some momentum. He's had an up and down season so far himself. A lot of these guys, of course, before that All-Star race, we were at Road America, so a lot of those guys were learning some different racecraft here in the last couple of weeks before putting it back on the ovals at Charlotte. But being a points race here tonight, Darlington, not the easiest track to move around. We saw just in a short amount of time in that practice session, some guys getting loose, especially off turn 4 there. It'll be interesting to see how these guys perform on the track side by side. There is Charlie Dickey in that 37 car. Up and down season for him. He's had some bad luck, but he's also looked really good at other times throughout the season. So he's most certainly just trying to keep that car clean here tonight. Try to walk away with a good finish.
I'm already going.
Tyrone Yo Jr., another guy who's really starting to make strides in his iRacing career here. He had a very slow season last year, just trying to learn to race around everybody here at All-American Racing League, keeping his nose clean. He kind of hung out at the back of the pack, but so far this season and their Thursday night series as well with the super late models, Tyrone Yo most certainly picking up the pace this season. He's had a tremendous season with the super lates, and he's up there in the point standings with a playoff spot in the next gen series. So he's somebody I'm going to keep my eye on here tonight in that 02 Chevrolet. Really stepping it up this season has been Tyrone. Now, Travis Rodriguez joining us tonight in the 79 car.
Yeah.
Had a pretty good season last season. We're going to go ahead and mute the drivers here. That's on me. Can't be catching any of those aggressive race chat that we all know can happen even in officials, but in leagues as well it happens sometimes. Cuss word flies out here and there. 79 car really not being able to figure it out in qualifying here. Hugging the wall there, getting a little bit loose out of turn 4. We saw the same thing happen with Chad Snyder. David Hera looks like he's finishing up his qualifying time. Now, Cameron Harris was a driver last week who looked really, really well at Charlotte. He was one of the drivers we mentioned earlier who drove it a little deep on turn 4, ended up wrecking David Hera and David Lurfano, but it was a really hard racing move. Late in the race, last lap, last turn, really put it on for the money. Tried getting an interview with him, but might be a little shy and bashful in that 27 car, so that's fine. You see a lot of these guys, though, here in qualifying hitting that wall. When you get that 1X like that, your track or your lap will be invalid. So there's a couple of drivers really not being able to put together a qualifying lap. Johnny May, Cameron Harris. We see Jim Humble out here today. I believe he's a new driver. He's going to be in the 51 Ford Mustang. Brian Ludlow returning to us this week as well. So let's take a look at our grid presented by McConey Setup Shops. Use code FADEDTV for 15% off all products, subscriptions, and coaching. Again, shout out to McConey Setup Shops. Use code FADEDTV at checkout. This is the Truckers Feed America series presented by Top Sail Trucking, All-American Racing League, Next Gen Cup Series. It's our second season with them. You can check these guys out on Facebook.com at All-American Racing League. Looks like David Lurfano is going to be the pole sitter here today. Checking out the second half of this grid. It's going to be Larry Garnes and newcomer Jim Hubble. Rounding out the back there, of course, Cameron Harris, Brian Ludlow, a couple of the drivers we've seen pick up a couple of those X's in their qualifying session, so they didn't get a clean lap down. So those guys kind of just falling into place back there. There is David Lurfano, the third, last season's champion in the current Gen Cup cars. Shout out to Lucky Dawg Detailing, sponsoring tonight's race. This is the Lucky Dawg Detailing 100. High-end car detailing, ceramic coating. They do RV, motorcycles, car, trucks, boats, whatever you may need. Polished up and detailed. Lucky Dawg does it all. They also provide pressure washing services as well. Those guys are located out of North Carolina, and trying to get their foot in the door here in a big way with sim racing. Not only sponsoring tonight's race, but sponsoring that man right there in the 8 car, David Lurfano. On the outside of him, Joshua Hetrick, having a pretty good season so far as of late. Really kind of taking on to these next-gen cars. He's also an admin over at the AARL Truck Lawn Care series that these guys have that showcase the Craftsman trucks. There's David Hara out of Charlotte, North Carolina, in that 15 car. Travis Rodriguez in the 79, and Patrick McQuaid. Always favorites here at All-American Racing League. As you see, the pace truck out of the infield. David Lurfano going to get the green flag here. Joshua Hetrick on the outside in the 25 car as these guys come down the front stretch. Lap 1 out of 100 here at the Lucky Dawg Detailing 100. Right now, it's just a drag race between those two guys. They're gonna make a little bit of contact there. If not, it's as close as you can get. Nonetheless, Joshua Hetrick actually having to lift off there. And that's going to give a clean start for David Lurfano. And kind of slow everybody up behind him as well. We see Johnny May coming off that race last week with his best finish of the season. He's looking to duplicate that early on, up 2 spots on this first lap as he makes his way up to 4th. So Johnny May having a good couple of weeks here. Fred Houle making the race here tonight in his 59 Ford Mustang. Travis Rodriguez behind him. He's up 2 spots already in the early going, up to P6. Behind him, David Hara, your points leader coming into tonight. Now remember, this is the first points race since Road America, so some of these drivers looking for some big points here. Cameron Harris being one of them in that 27 Toyota. Larry Garnes as well. Chad Snyder dropping back pretty big here in the early going. He's down 8 spots, dropping back to 11th. So he slides outside the top 10 here with just 5 laps in. Back up front, David Lurfano with over a second lead on Joshua Hetrick here at Darlington. So last season's champion, David Lurfano, out to about as good of a start as you could wish for here in the early going. Of course, plenty of laps left and racing left for these drivers, but out to a big lead early is David Lurfano. See back there in the back, Tyrone and Jim Hummel already way off pace there, about over 10 seconds off the leader. So these guys might just be trying to chill out here in the early going, stay back, try to avoid any big wrecks here in the early going, save their fast repairs for late in the race. Charlie Dickey down 3 spots. He qualified 9th. He's down to 12th. So we see some guys on the move already. Cameron Harris up 5 spots. He's in that 6th spot, right in front of Travis Rodriguez. Working on the backside of that 15 car of David Hera. Cameron now onto the inside of that 15 car. Trying to get a pass here at Darlington. He does. Out of turn 4 onto the front stretch. Cameron Harris getting some early work in. Up 6 spots, cracking the top 5. Oh, and Johnny May hits the wall in turn 3, coming out of turn 4. That's going to give Cameron Harris a ton of momentum onto the inside of that 00 car of Johnny May. Cameron Harris now up to 4th. Our biggest mover so far of the night, that 27 car, up 7 spots. While we were checking in with Cameron Harris, Patrick McQuaid on the move here a little bit. He puts Joshua Hetrick in his rearview mirror and takes over that 2nd spot behind David Lurfano. David, though, up 2.6 seconds over Patrick McQuaid. So right now, race leader David Lurfano, as we talked about a few laps ago, here on cruise control in the early going, 14 laps into this 100-lap race. And it's got to be so fitting that here at the Lucky Dog Detailing 100, the Lucky Dog Detailing Next Gen Cup car driven by David Lurfano is out to a dominant lead here on lap 15. Talking to David Hara before the race, he said tonight it's going to be all about survival. The track is slick from the jump. Tire wear will come into major play, but the wall is going to get the most love tonight. Quoting David Hara, and he hasn't been wrong. There's been a lot of drivers, especially coming off turn 4, coming off a little bit too high, scraping the wall there. And we have our first caution. It looks like Larry Garnes might be wrapped up into this one. So that's going to reset the field. If you're David Lurfano, you certainly don't like to see that. He had his lead almost to 30 seconds. You see Larry Garnes getting passed up there. Let's go back and take a look at the replay and see what happened to that number 20 Chevrolet of Larry Garnes. And that's what we just talked about right there. And he comes flying off that wall down into that infield barrier there. That's a pretty hard lick for that 20 car. Hopefully he can make it onto pit road to be able to use one of his fast repairs. But that's what we were just talking about. We quoted David Lurfano. We talked to him at the beginning of this race. We've seen it here a handful of times here tonight. That wall is going to see a lot of action here tonight, and it claims its first victim of the night, Larry Garnes. So an unfortunate start for him. And it does look like he is going to make it down pit road. That's good. Sometimes in those cases, you can blow your motor before making it down pit road, and then you're kind of stuck there hoping somebody gives you a push so you don't have to take a tow. Now here under caution, I think David Hara most certainly reaching for his bush light there, hits the wall, came down, actually hit another driver. He decides to take it down pit road. So certainly that's why you don't drink and drive. All the leaders down here, lap 19 complete. Here, our first caution. David Lurfano, Rodriguez, Hetrix, Snyder. All these guys coming down pit road. Excuse me, McQuaid, not Rodriguez, coming down. Travis, I think, actually stayed out along with Brian Ludlow, Fred Houle, Charlie Dickey, and Jim Hubble. Now it looks like some of these other drivers coming down pit road. Brian Ludlow, at least. Travis Rodriguez, though, still choosing to stay out, along with Jim Hubble. Now, we're still pretty early on into the race here. Of course, 20 laps out of 100 complete. But, you know, these guys up front that had comfortable track positioning, they're going to come down. They're going to take tires. But for some of these drivers, like Travis Rodriguez, for example, who is usually towards the front of these fields anyways, really trying to take advantage of the early caution. Maybe he feels comfortable on the set of tires that he has. He's going to elect to stay out, try to get some of that track position. But what we've seen so many times here in oval racing, you stay out, you don't take the tires to try to get that track position. But unfortunately, the cars that are behind you are fresh off pit road. They have fresh tires, and they usually just drive the doors right off of the guys that decided to stay out. So we'll see if that risk comes into play with Travis Rodriguez, or if he gets the reward and can stay out front here for a while until we hit that second caution or that first green flag pit window opens up. So Travis Rodriguez, Jim Hubble going to be on the front row there. David Lurfano, Patrick McQuaid, row 2, 3rd, and 4th. Johnny May, Cameron Harris in the 3rd row, with Johnny being on the inside in 5th, Cameron in 6th. Patrick and Chad, row 4, 7th, and 8th. And Fred Houle and David Hara, who we saw get a little wonky there under caution, going to be in row 5, 9th, and 10th. Back to green flag racing. That 79 car of Travis Rodriguez with a huge jump, almost going as soon as the truck clears his path. Of course, David Lurfano making light work of Jim Hubble. That's because he's got those fresh tires. Jim now up out of the wall. That's some contact there. That's going to bunch some drivers up. Oh, and there's some contact there with Jim Hubble. Looks like that 20 car of Larry Garnes getting involved in that. Unfortunately, no caution for that 20 car. He might have been looking for one there. He's going to have to come down pit road now after that. Let's go back and take a look at this replay here. Oh! Unfortunately, just getting clipped there. I think that was that Patrick McQuaid? Yes, it was. I can't believe those guys escaped a caution. And there it is now. The yellow flag being thrown out. Let's go back and take a look at this. We're going to use a... we're going to stop it right there. We're going to get on Patrick McQuaid. We're going to use the iRacing rewind here. I want to take a look and see what happened with Patrick McQuaid. We know Jim Hubble got off. Looks like he had to check up maybe. Yeah, there's contact between McQuaid and Jim Hubble. McQuaid down to that inside wall. Back up to the track. Takes out Larry Garnes. There wasn't a caution there at first. I think this was obviously a race-controlled caution being thrown out there. I'm really surprised that we didn't see one sooner. There is Larry Garnes out of Charleston, West Virginia, having a tough night so far. Wrapped up in both our cautions here tonight. Having to come down pit road, I would assume. have to use his last quick repair. These guys do get 2 fast repairs here in this league, and both of his, I would assume, going to be used after that. That was a pretty hard lick there. But who knows? Maybe he's fine. His engine temperatures are good. His steering's good. Might not need to. Now, Travis Rodriguez going to have to think about coming down pit road here. It looked like it had paid off. He stayed out last caution. That came out lap 18, lap 19. He decided to stay out, got that track position, hasn't lost the lead yet. We see Johnny May also up there in that 00 car for the time being. Yeah, there is Larry Garnes now coming down pit road. So he's going to get some repairs done on that 20 machine. Unfortunately, not how you like to start the race. And, of course, Travis maybe deciding, hey, I didn't stay out last time just to give it away this time. So he's still going to stay out under our second caution, lap 27. But that window is coming up for him to have to come down pit road and at least grab some tires here. We'll see if David Lurfano, who looks to be starting third, will be able to get a good run on that 79 car with his fresh tires. Joshua Hetrick as well came down pit road the same time that number 8 car did. He's going to be starting in row 2 on the outside, right behind Johnny May. So we'll see just how this plays out for these 2 drivers on the front row here. Looks like we'll go one more lap around. Trying to get these guys situated after our second caution here at Darlington. Josh Hetrick with a little bit of blinking there going on for that 25 car. Hopefully he can get that figured out. Otherwise, that will probably result in an EOL. An EOL, for you guys watching at home, means end of line. Anytime you get a driver that is blinking like that and it doesn't get under control within a certain amount of time, they'll get the EOL. It's just one of the biggest distractions for the drivers around him. But also, if you can't see them, you don't know if you're getting ready to get out of the back end of them. That's what Cameron Harris faces right now in that 27 car. He's going to stay out, pace truck off. Travis Rodriguez to take the green flag. Last time with a real early jump, Travis Rodriguez. This time kind of hangs just a little bit there. But again, a phenomenal restart for the 79 car of Travis Rodriguez. We'll see if Johnny May can hold off that 8 car of David Lurfano. So far, so good. Coming out of turn 2 onto the back stretch. And race leader Travis Rodriguez getting into the wall there. We'll see if Johnny May can take advantage of that. Find some momentum here onto the front stretch. Down into turn 1. Doesn't look like he is. Rodriguez had such a enough lead there, and he got off the wall quick enough. But here comes Johnny with that run onto the backstretch, down into turn 3. At 00 machine, the Ford Mustang of Johnny May, your new race leader, coming out of turn 4 onto the front stretch. There's David Lurfano on some fresh tires. He's got Fred Houle behind him in that 59 car. Joshua Hetrick, David Hara in 5th and 6th behind him. I admit, I'm really surprised as there's Rodriguez now. So I was going to say I was really surprised the guys that didn't come down pit road, and there's the big one right there. And that's the risk that you take right there. That's going to bring up our third caution. But, you know, what I was going to speak on was, and Johnny may be proving me wrong. He did a phenomenal job getting that race lead. But the 79 car of Travis Rodriguez, who's a very competent driver, deciding to stay out both those first two cautions. I was going to say, when does the tire wear really start to come into play for that 79 car? Because it looked like he was going to be able to hold off a charge from David Lafano. But as I was getting ready to address the situation, we see the tires fall off of the 79 car. He gets into the wall. Let's go back and take a look. And then right there, not being able, he didn't hit the wall initially, but just coming off of turn 4 there, no grip, gets a little bit loose, tries to save it, overcompensates a little bit, so he's got to pull his steering wheel to the right. The car did hit some grip, and it just sent him right into that wall. Now, fortunately, nobody else involved in that. Caution thrown out when it should have. 79 car going to have to come down pit road and use one of his fast repairs here in the early going. So that's going to open it up for David Lafano to start on this front row on the restart. Very impressed so far with Johnny May. Now, he may have pitted on that first go around. I would assume at lap 34, if he hasn't, he's going to have to come down and get tires. We just saw what happened with the 79 car who elected to stay out. We'll see what decision Johnny May makes here, as he is the new race leader. If he did pit on that first caution, obviously, no worries. He'll stay out. But if he didn't, he's going to have to think about coming down here whether he wants to or not. Fred Houle up to third, one of his better nights here throughout the season of this next gen. David Hara, P4, Chad Snyder looking for some of that momentum. He's up in the top 5 right now. Of course, Chad had a really good qualifying session here. He started P3, fell back into the early going outside of the top 10, I believe, at one point. He was down 11 spots back there in 14th. But he's now made his way back into the top 5, so maybe what Chad Snyder needs to kind of regroup this season. He would most certainly love to be able to finish this race into the top 5, a podium even better, to be able to try to get on track with the next-gen cars. Of course, Chad Snyder being a top 4 driver last season with the current cars, at least putting himself in some pretty good positioning here. He's got Jim Hubble behind him. Of course, Jim involved in one of those big wrecks involving Larry Garnes just a few laps ago, as we are on our third caution here. We're averaging about 10 laps of green. I'm sure these guys talking it out amongst themselves, some admins getting involved, letting everybody know, hit your lines, stay off the wall. It's a long race. Charlie Dickey moving up to 7th. He's got Tyrone Yo behind him. Those guys both up 2 spots. Cameron Harris dropping back a little bit on this restart. Right there inside the top 10. They're in 9th. Looked like he was getting ready to make his move up to a podium spot early on into the race. But now he drops back. So Johnny May going to be taking this restart as your race leader. These might very well be the first laps Johnny May has ever led in his career up to this point. So he certainly said, I am not coming down pit road. I am going to lead my laps. He's going to have the challenge, though. There's two Hillbilly Motorsport teammates up top there, starting with David Lurfano in the 8 car. Behind him on the outside, David Hara. We'll see if these guys work in tandem. Pace truck off. Johnny May to take the green flag here after the 3rd caution. And he takes it just a little bit before we get out of the front stretch. That almost resembled like a dirt late model restart coming right off of turn 4. And he's got that Ford Mustang humming right now out of turn 2 onto the backstretch. Johnny May with an impressive run here at Darlington. Here comes David Lurfano, though. Looked like he was getting a really good run there down into turn 1. But it's actually Johnny May off of turn 2 with a good run. Here comes Cameron Harris trying to climb his way back into this race on the inside of Jim Hubble. That is for 6th. Cameron Harris going to take over that spot coming out of turn 4. Onto the outside of Chad Snyder. Something wrong with Chad Snyder there, I think. I don't know what was going on. Maybe something IRL on his end there, but he lost a lot of pace there on the front stretch pretty rapidly. He's going to lose 2 spots to Cameron Harris and Fred Houle. Oh, Cameron Harris maybe touching the wall there a little bit, but he's certainly finding the speed here about halfway through this race. He's going to be looking to take over P3 out on the inside of David Hara. Now remember, these guys touched at the All-Star race. David Hara went up the track. Of course, no bad blood between these two guys. They hashed it out after the race, but David Hara not going away cheap. Still up on that high line. Cameron's going to actually have to check up. Can't complete the pass onto David Hara. Here he comes once again out of the backstretch. Cameron trying to get that inside line working for him. Trying to get around that 15 of David Hara coming out of turn 4. He gets it done this time onto the front stretch. So Cameron Harris on the move, up 8 spots in 3rd. So a phenomenal run there by Cameron Harris. Back up front, Johnny May, still the race leader. David Lurfano, who started this race with a surge. He had a 2-second lead before that very first caution came out. Not able to track down Johnny May just yet and get that lead back. Johnny certainly having a hell of a night here at Darlington. So it looks like only one car not on the lead lap. Of course, that's Larry Garnes. If you've been here throughout the entire broadcast, a rough night for the iRacing rookie Larry Garnes, getting wrapped up in somebody else's garbage. But he is the one taken out to the streets. He finds himself 2 laps down. Cameron Harris, not as easy with the guys up front. He had really worked his way through the field to get to where he is at right now up there in P3. But ever since catching up to Johnny May and David Lurfano, actually taking a step back a little bit. Of course, as I say that, he gets a ton of momentum through this turn here. Onto the back bumper of David Lurfano, onto the inside, just like he did Lurfano's teammate David Hara a few laps ago. There is Cameron Harris taking over that second spot from David Lurfano. Thank you. Will he be the one to dethrone Johnny May? It certainly looks like it. Cameron Harris, in his first season with All-American Racing League, has shown some promise throughout this season. But right now, until he makes the pass, it's Johnny May's show. Now you see the 27 and the 8 car of David Lurfano, and Johnny May now getting a little bit loose. He's going to go up high right in front of David Lurfano. That's going to bring out our 4th caution of the night. So unfortunately, Johnny May having his best night of the season so far, leading a ton of laps at Darlington, getting a little bit loose coming out of turn 4 there, I think it was, and I was just getting ready to talk about both David Lurfano and Cameron Harris getting a little too high through that turn, both of them hitting the wall, and how it was going to favor Johnny May, be able to pick up a little bit of pace off that, but unfortunately, Johnny getting a little bit loose there. Let's take a look at the replay. You see Cameron Harris just being able to squeak by there. Nowhere for David Lurfano to go. That's going to be a trip down pit road. That's going to be a fast repair used by both those drivers there, Johnny May and David Lurfano. Now Cameron Harris choosing to come down pit road here. I would assume the majority of these drivers coming down, they're going to regroup, get a fresh set of tires. A couple of them, again, using a fast repair. David Lurfano, his first. Johnny May, his first as well. So we'll see if Johnny May can bounce back here. I'm not too sure where he's going to start coming off of pit road, but there is Cameron Harris, David Lurfano, David Hara, Patrick McQuaid. And the rest of the guys. So right now we've seen this before. Jimmy Hubble, he's going to stay out. Well, these guys now might be coming in their second wave. I'm not too sure. Yep, that's what it's going to be. Jim Hubble, Charlie Dickey, Johnny May, and Fred Houle. Going to be your second set of drivers coming down pit road. So that's going to give the lead back to Cameron Harris. David Lurfano with a good pit stop as well. He's going to be on that front row there, fighting it out with Cameron Harris. These guys duked it out all last week at the All-Star race at Charlotte. A lot of money on the line last week, a lot of points on the line this week. These guys are about halfway through the schedule. as they are at Darlington this tonight. They have an off week next week. October 5th, they pick it back up with only 3 races left before the playoffs. We're going to be at Indianapolis on October 5th, Dover the following week on October 12th, with the season finale being at Homestead, Miami. We'll crown a regular season champion before heading into the playoffs on November 2nd. That's going to pick up at Richmond. November 9th is going to be Bristol. November 16th is going to be Texas. That's the cutoff race, the first cutoff race of the playoffs before going into round 2. Now we're going to have Talladega, Phoenix, and Martinsville. That's going to be the final cutoff race before the top 4 drivers duke it out for the championship on December 28th at Nashville Superspeedway. So only a few more races left before they go to the playoffs. Some of those guys on the outside looking in, Charlie, well, again, we have some drivers in the standings that don't race here anymore. We're going to get that cleaned up next week. But where they sit right now, the drivers on the outside looking into that playoff, Charles Dickey, Casey Picala, Chad Snyder, Cameron Harris doing everything he can here tonight. Now we're missing Adam Angerstein, a phenomenal driver here at All-American Racing League. Unfortunately, having to miss tonight. That's an important race, as these guys, again, only a few more weeks before that playoff. Now, truck's going to go off. We're going to get back to green flag racing, and it's going to be Cameron Harris to take the green flag after our 4th caution, 55 laps out of 100 at the Lucky Dog Detailing 100. And on the front stretch down into turn 1, Cameron Harris with a pretty good jump over David Lurfano. The 15 car of David Hara and Patrick McQuaid battling it out for 3rd. It looks like advantage McQuaid. David Hara checks up, falls back in line. Now, we'll stay with Patrick McQuaid here. He's all over the bumper of David Lurfano right now. Out of turn 4. Can he get the momentum? No. David Lurfano with a nice lap there. Going to be able to maintain P2. Travis Rodriguez up to 5th. He was involved in an incident where he hit a wall. Oh, David Hara now getting loose, getting bumped by the 79 car. And multiple drivers wrapped up in the 5th caution. These drivers fighting for grip out there. And you see the damage done to the 79 car. It was actually David Hara that popped off that caution. He's got some serious damage as well. Those guys going to try to make it to pit road. Use the quick repair. Here's the 15 car of David Hara. Just getting really loose there. Not able to hold it on. The 79 car not being able to hold down. You see the carnage right there. Good job by Johnny May, Charlie Dickey, and others to make it through, as David Hara was really like he was on a carnival ride there. Jim Humble involved in this as well. It's kind of weird there, the positioning of David Hara. I think Humble really thought that Hara was going to start sliding down the track, so he was actually trying to stay up high until the very last second when he realized that Hara wasn't going to come down just yet, and unfortunately tags the front end of his car. Cameron Harris, still your race leader when the caution came out. Leaders coming down. No, staying out. Excuse me. I was still on, I think I was on David Harris still. Or Jim Humble, excuse me. Travis Rodriguez, Joshua Hetrick, David Hara, Tyrone Yo. Looks like Charlie Dickey. All those guys coming down pit road. Now, the good news, the winner of all this is Larry Garnes. Now, remember, not too long ago, he was 2 laps down, but he was the only car a lap down at that time. So, fortunately for him, we've had 2+ cautions since then. He's been able to get the lucky dog each and every time. That 20 car, with those fast repairs being used, back on the lead lap, unfortunately, for Charlie Dickey. He's now the lone soul a lap down. However, 60 laps in, 40 to go. We're certainly not done seeing yellows here, so Charlie Dickey just needs to keep it clean, stay out of trouble. He'll get his chance to get back on lead lap, I'm sure. Single file for the moment. We'll go around. We'll see if they double file this time. Should be about 1 to go. As these guys cross the start-finish line, we'll see. Yep, there comes David Lurfano. On the outside of Cameron Harris. So it should be 1 lap to go here. We'll get back to green flag racing. You can see it there on the NASCAR tower presented by SDK iRacing Live Timing. We have fallen under 5 cautions here at Darlington, but we spoke a little bit ago in the broadcast. Some of these drivers talked about how tough this track was going to be. There's not a lot of grip out there for these guys on this track. Turns 1 and 2 are different from 3 and 4. We've seen a lot of guys hit the wall. They do like running the high line here at Darlington. Unfortunately, when you do that and you go as high as these guys do, you run the risk of hitting the wall. Pace truck off, green flag. Cameron Harris and David Lurfano to drag race down into turn 1. Of course, Lurfano prisoner to Cameron Harris. He cannot jump that start until the 27 does. And there's the 77 car, who we talk about it all the time on this broadcast, on the restarts. If you're not first, you most certainly want to be third. You got the best seat in the house. You don't have to keep looking left. You don't have to give any room or half a car length to the leader to be able to see when they're, smashing down on that gas pedal. When you're sitting on that inside of row 2, like Patrick McQuaid was, you do have the second best seat in the house, only to the race leader. So McQuaid being able to take advantage of that, he shoots up to second place, leaving David Lurfano behind him. Brian Ludlow in the 150 Gorilla Glue, the Ford Mustang, in his best spot of the night. He's all the way up to P4. That's 8 spots. Johnny May back into the top 5. He's looking to reclaim that race lead. He had a dominant portion of this race before, unfortunately, getting loose 2 cautions ago and having to come down pit road. So Johnny May certainly trying to get back up front in what appears to be one of his best runs of the season, minus the All-Star race. But you see just how high these guys get. And in fact, Johnny touching the wall there, nothing too squirrely there. But you still got to be careful as you fight that wheel, trying to get left a little bit to get off that wall. That's when you can start getting loose there again. Johnny May into the wall. Joshua Hetrick behind him. He's having to lift in his Or Lawn Care 25. Behind Hetrick, Travis Rodriguez. So these guys watching Johnny May eat these walls here. It's like we talked about. You can run the high line at Darlington, but it's a fine line between staying on that asphalt and hitting that wall in a clean manner. Cameron Harris still the race leader. Patrick McQuaid, David Lurfano 2 and 3. We're watching the fight between Johnny May, Joshua Hetrick, and Travis Rodriguez. Not much of a fight, I guess. They're pretty much spread out at this point, single file, but Fred Houle coming down pit road, it looked like. Not too sure what's going on with Fred Houle, but he certainly looks beat up. Almost narrowly missing pit road. I would assume back there all by himself. Looks like he might have took a pretty hard lick on the wall there. His whole passenger side pretty beat up there. We see the Gorilla Glue car at the top of your screen get a little bit loose off of turn 4. He's able to maintain control of that, though. Lap 68 out of 100 complete. So Fred Houle, not too sure what happened, but unfortunately having to come down pit road and make some repairs. Cameron Harris in full control of the race, looking to pick up his first win of the season and try to lock himself a playoff spot. His lead over a second on Patrick McQuaid and David Lurfano. Johnny May up a spot, back up to 4th again. He's trying to redeem himself. Lost the lead, getting loose off of turn 4 about 15 laps ago. Joshua Hetrick getting a little bit of a run in that 25 car. Looking on the inside, didn't have enough to make the pass out of turn 2. So he's going to have to regroup and try again down into turn 3. You see him gain just a little bit of momentum through the turns, but that racing line that Johnny May keeps on corner exit has all the momentum. But here we go, down into turn 1. You see Hetrick gaining just a little bit through the turns on entry, but it's off exit that Johnny May keeps that position. Travis Rodriguez and David Hara. We see Rodriguez getting into the wall. That should open the door for that 15 car to make a clean pass, and it does. That was for 6th. So we continue to see these guys struggle with that high line. There's David Hara now. After watching the 79 car go into the wall, he says, hey, whatever you can do, I can do better. Tyrone Yo and Larry Garnes on the back end. These guys, I believe, well, Charlie Dickey and Fred Houle, your drivers right there on your screen. Charlie's a lap down. Freddie is 2 laps down. Fred being able to get that lap back on Dickey, but he's got a long way to go here with just 26, almost 25 laps to go. Right now, though, Cameron Harris working his way up through the field. He qualified 11th. He's found 10 spots. He's up to that top spot in first on cruise control. A 1.68 second lead over David Lorfano, who was able to muster the pass onto Patrick McQuaid. So we'll see with just 25 laps to go if David Lorfano can get a run, try to make a challenge for Cameron Harris. Of course, Cameron trying to do all he can to avoid a caution here. He's hoping everybody is playing nice behind him, giving each other lots of room. He doesn't want a caution to come out here, and it does. Joshua Hetrick with the old broadcaster's curse on Cameron Harris. Let's go back and take a look at just what happened with this 25 car. Of Joshua Hetrick, you see all the paint gone there. Some scratches, some dings. Let's go back and take a look. Fighting with Johnny May there a little bit. It looked like those two cars touched a little bit. Joshua maybe having to come down a tad here than he wanted to. It looks like he got loose all on his own, but that fight with Johnny May, he had to come down maybe just a little bit too hard out of corner exit, causing that rear end to get loose on him. Fortunately for the rest of the field, nobody else involved in there. Cameron Harris, though, the real loser on that caution. We're going to have to line these guys back up. And David Lorfano, always a threat late in the race. You never want to count out that Lucky Dog detail in number 8 car. As you see, Hetrick maybe a little angry with himself there, almost missing that pit road. But, yeah, all the hitters coming down pit lane here. Except Jim Hubble. He's been the guy that's really kind of stayed out under these cautions, maybe a little bit longer than he should be. But track position is key, especially going on into the latter half of this race. You see the first driver off pit road. There's Patrick McQuaid, Cameron Harris. There's Johnny May in the 00 car. Brian Ludlow. So got 3 cars on pit road. That's David Lorfano the third. That looks like Tyrone Yo. Behind them, there's Joshua Hetrick wrapped up into that last caution all by himself, and teammate Chad Snyder coming out without a front bumper. Those guys maybe trying to get something together, work together a little bit. Joshua Hetrick and Chad Snyder, that is. Still coming off pit road. We got a couple of more drivers straggling behind. There's Larry Garnes, and there's the 79 car of Travis Rodriguez. That should do it for pit stops there. Everybody else on the track. Nope, there's one more car. Looks like Fred Houle. We've seen him have some trouble all night long coming down pit road there under green. At one point throughout this race, he fell 2 laps down. Now that caution, he should have been able to get a lap back, but I'm not too sure what he's coming down pit road for this time. Now, Charlie Dickey we talked about getting that lucky dog. He is now back on the lead lap, but Fred Houle still down 2 laps. So Jim Hubble, David Hara, Cameron Harris, Patrick McQuaid, and Johnny May going to be restarting this, your top 5 drivers. So let's see. We'll see if what Jim Hubble has on this restart. He's got a pretty cool paint scheme there, at least. That's always good for some bonus points, cool paint scheme. But he has some dogs around him right now. David Hara, Cameron Harris, Patrick McQuaid, and Johnny May. As this race comes to an end, we'll see if it goes green the rest of the way. I got a feeling it is going to come down to a green-white checker. That's just me. Right now, Jim Hubble to take the green flag. A nice looking restart for that 51 Ford Mustang. Brian Ludlow crashed. I hear some banging in the earphones. We'll see if that brings out a caution or not. Right now, it looks like we're going to go green flag. Nope, there it is. The green flag comes to an end. We are at another caution at Darlington. Putting in some overtime here tonight. Brian Ludlow, Johnny May. And he jumped to the pits on that one. That could mean trouble for Johnny May, who looked like he had a first-place car here at one point. Let's go back and take a look, see what happened with Brian Ludlow. You see the physical or cosmetic damage there on his race car. Johnny May, he jumped to the pits. He might have even actually left the server. Nope, he's just sitting down there in pit road. Unfortunately, though, anytime you see somebody jump to the pits, that is not good. Let's go see what happened. It's just Johnny May, I think, getting a little bit loose and then getting up a little bit too high onto the wall. Yeah, you see Johnny get loose there. Not much you can do after that. Just had to try to shake it off as all four tires of Brian Ludlow gets off the ground there. That's a pretty big lick for him. I'm trying to figure out if Johnny May had a blown engine there at the end. And that's why he had to jump to the pits on that one. Or if it was simply just frustration there. But back up front, David Hara, the 15 car winner here just a few weeks ago, is going to be in the top spot. He's going to have Cameron Harris starting on the outside of row 1 next to him. Patrick McQuaid, teammate David Lurfano back there in row 2, but he's going to be on the outside. He's going to be pushing Cameron Harris. Tyrone Yo Jr. up 5 spots, up to 5th. He's looking for a strong finish here. Chad Snyder 6th. His teammate Joshua Hetrick. Those guys going to be running 6th and 7th. Larry Garnes in 8th, and Travis Rodriguez 9th, and Charlie Dickey, after being 2 laps down at one point in this race, on the lead lap now and back into the top 10. And as you can see, the names scroll up top. Unfortunately, Johnny May going multiple laps down. His night most certainly coming to an end. Unfortunate. That 00 car looked as if he had a car to beat out here at Darlington. David Hara looking for his 2nd win of the season. Currently your point standings leader. He finished 3rd, I believe, at the Daytona 500, only to teammate David Lurfano and Louis Clark finishing P2. Kind of snuck in there in front of that 15 car at the end of that race. But a 3rd place there He does have a win. He did finish really good at Road America as well, having himself a fine season here in the next gen cars. Of course, David Lafano, his teammate, second in the point standings after winning that Daytona, and winner at Road America. So that just goes to show you the kind of season that David Hara has had. His teammate has more wins, but sits behind him in the points. We'll see if Cameron Harris can get a jump here. He led quite a bit of laps here between these cautions. He's on the outside looking to reclaim that top spot from David Hara. David with a good restart there. He's got the 77 car, Patrick McQuaid, going to check up there. So that's that disadvantage that I always talk about here on the restarts. If you're that second place car, always at the disadvantage. But there is Cameron Harris getting a mean run off of turn 2 onto the backstretch. He's back up to the bumper of the 77 of McQuaid. All drivers getting way up high there out of turn 4 onto the front stretch. Cameron Harris with 13 laps to go, looking to chase down race leader David Hara. And what looks like is going to be a shootout till the end. David Lafano creeping up now behind Cameron in that 8 car. We'll stick with these 4 drivers primarily here, as this is for the race lead. And you got Chad Snyder back there in 5th, waiting for any of these guys to make a mistake and put themselves out of bad track positions. Chad doesn't even have a front bumper on his car. He's had a rough night. He's looking to take home a podium. Right now, though, all eyes on David Hara for the moment. The 77 of Patrick McQuaid looking on the inside. We'll see if he can get the run. It looks like he might. Cameron Harris following suit there on the inside. Now, technically, McQuaid leading that lap. He's yet to really secure that spot, though, as these guys are racing side by side through turns 1 and 2 onto the backstretch. Still hasn't cleared the 15 of David Hara. And now he has, and the 27 of Cameron Harris looks to do the same. And he does. So Patrick McQuaid, Cameron Harris running 1-2. Teammates David Lafano and David Hara, 3rd and 4th. Chad Snyder with his teammate Joshua Hetrick sitting back in 5th and 6th. 10 laps to go here. It's been a caution fest at Darlington. We hear some banging going on in the back there. Some cars hitting the wall, I think, a little bit. No caution, though. We're sticking with the race leader, Patrick McQuaid. Really starting to distance himself from Cameron Harris and the rest of the gang here. But of course, a late race caution, this time involving Chad Snyder and David Hara. So we just missed that. That was on the tail end of the drivers we were watching. Now that's huge. David Hara was in 3rd. And Chad Snyder running 5th. He was looking for his best finish of the season. Let's go back, take a look. Chad Snyder and David Hara, these guys are racing side by side. We'll go back and take a look at that from a different angle, of course. I think David Lafano had already made the pass onto David Hara, so I think David was running P4 there on Chad Snyder jumping to the pits. We talked about that a few moments ago. That's certainly not what you want to see. You take the tow to pit row. Now let's go back. Let's look at this from the far chase. Let's go back and take a look at this. See what happened between these two drivers. Looked like Chad Snyder just kind of getting up into David Harris' racing line there, or at least enough to where, they hit the panels there. Try to zoom in now. Now, luckily, it stayed pretty clean right there. Those guys pretty much hooking on to each other. Nobody else involved, but that's a tough break for both those drivers. Again, Chad Snyder really coming into Darlington looking for any kind of momentum on the season. It looked like he was going to have one of his best finishes. He was sitting there in 5th at the time. David Harris was 3rd, possibly 4th. Again, I think David Lorfano did end up passing him right before that incident happened. So Lorfano maybe getting a little bit lucky, making sure he stayed ahead of that before it happened. Now, a couple of these drivers staying out, but a couple of them coming in, including Cameron Harris. So he's going to be finishing this race with 6 laps, 5 laps to go. When we get back to green flag, it may well be a green-white checkered, but he's going to have fresh tires. Everybody else is going to be on old tires. It's a bold move. We'll see if it pays off. Looks like Johnny May really never making it out of pit road after that last wreck that he was in. He finds himself 13 laps down. Chad Snyder 3 laps down after that. And Tyrone Yo 2 laps down. Back to double file. That means we are getting ready to go back to green flags. 5 laps. It will be 4 laps to go when they cross that start-finish line here on the green. Cameron Harris, the only driver on the lead lap there, willing to come down pit road and take tires, but that puts him all the way back in 10th. You see a pretty good start there from Patrick McQuaid. That's what he needed with the likes of David Lorfano and Rodriguez behind him. Really needed a good jump. That's what he got. That 77 car out to the lead here. 3 laps to go in the Lucky Dog Detailing 100. Now we talked about Cameron Harris coming down pit road, getting those fresh tires, starting P10, flew through the pack. He's up to P3, looking to at least take home a podium. I'm not too sure if he's got the speed to be able to beat these guys up front. David Lafano, Patrick McQuaid, duking it out for first. And that number 8 car just out of nowhere, making the run on Patrick McQuaid. Charlie Dickey crashed. Final lap. I don't think we'll see a caution. David Lafano looking to get his 3rd win of the season. Patrick McQuaid all over his bumper, down to the backstretch as they go down into turn 3. Out of turn 4, Patrick McQuaid trying to look for a run on the high side, not going to get it. And David Lafano picks up his 3rd win of the season. And a fitting one. The Lucky Dog Detailing car wins the Lucky Dog Detailing 100. A conspiracy, maybe. But most certainly something that we are used to seeing. That number 8 car taking home the checkered. Patrick McQuaid not having enough there at the end to beat out David Lafano. Cameron Harris, who took a little bit of a risk coming down and getting tires, he's getting 3rd place here tonight, and what I think is his best finish. So the Daytona 500, Road America, and Darlington all belong to that number 8 car of David Lafano. You see the top 3 drivers there getting their podium shots before David burns down the house. We'll stay on board with that. David Harrah with a pretty good finish coming in P4. Joshua Hetrick with a top 5. Frederick Houle in 6th. So we'll bring in 3rd place driver Cameron Harris. Cameron, how you doing?
Oh, what's up?
So you came down pit road there to get tires at the end. You were the only car that stayed out. You started on that restart 10th, had me worried, but you just blew the doors off everybody to get back up into 3rd. It looked like you might have been the car to beat there, but unfortunately just too many cautions at the end. Talk to us a little bit about Darlington.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fun track. You know, too many cautions, but, you know, it is what it is. I'll see if I can come in there and get tires and see what I could do. I don't know, Hail Mary, I guess. Or I could have just stayed up there where I was at. But
well, hey, you know, yeah, no risk it, no biscuit. You're having fun out there. You had a great finish last week at the All-Star race. I was hoping to get some word from you, but I think that ended on a little bit of a heated note. Nonetheless, Cameron, a great run here tonight. Looking to make your way into that playoff cutoff starting here tonight with a solid P3. Appreciate it, buddy.
Yes, sir.
That was Cameron Harris. Look, his first season here at All-American Racing League. The guy's been nothing but great to call. He's very fast. You heard it. He's out there having fun. He enjoys the track. But like he said, unfortunately, when he did have the race lead and you know, looked really dominant, we just got into a rough patch of cautions, and just unfortunate for him, but still bringing home that podium. 2nd place driver, Patrick McQuaid. Patrick finishing P2 here tonight. It looked like you might have had enough to hold off David Lafano, but unfortunately couldn't get it done. A lot of cautions here tonight. Did that throw off your rhythm at all?
Yeah, it did a little bit. Not too much, just because really, for me, I had no rhythm here. This is just not my cup of tea. But yeah, I guess, I mean, the little rhythm I had, yeah, I guess you could say that.
Yeah, David Lafano sneaking in for his 3rd win here, but nonetheless, a solid P2. We'll have to update the standings here because we have some drivers in there that actually opted out the rest of the season. But where it's at, the information that I'm seeing at right now, you did come in here tonight 3rd in points. So definitely having a really strong season so far. Still looking for that first win, but coming into tonight, third in standings, finishing P2. You got to feel good about where your season's at this point.
Yeah, it's a little rocky, but tonight I had a new sponsor with us, the CBD MD with Muffler Man, and I was hoping to get them in victory lane, but other than that, it's been a pretty good season, you'd say.
All right, Patrick. Well, we'll let you go. Congratulations on the podium. We'll talk to you down the road, buddy.
Thank you.
All right, let's pull in David Lurfano driving that number 8 car, the Lucky Dog Detailing number 8, winning the Lucky Dog Detailing 100. David Lurfano picking up your 3rd win of the season. How you feeling, buddy?
Pretty good, Faded. That's I'm glad to get out of here with the win. I never expected to come in here and do this at Darlington. I'm not a fan of this place, but it was fun. Patrick made it tough, and he's a hell of a driver. I'm glad we were able to keep it clean there.
Yeah, you said the same thing about Road America. It seems like these tracks that you don't expect to do very well at, you actually do quite darn good at. So picking up your 3rd win of the season. David Harry, your teammate, also finishing pretty good. He finished P4. Cameron Harris just lights out all night. I think too many cautions kind of caught up to him, and he kind of risked it there at the end, but still a strong podium. I mean, there was a lot of hitters there up towards the front. Do you think the cautions benefited you to be able to kind of regroup on some of these and be able to just drag race Patrick McQuaid for the win?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it helped there a little bit. I mean, at the beginning there, I was up front, and Cameron got by me, and I was just trying to set a pace and try to get there at the end, focus on keeping the right side of this car off the wall all night, which I was able to do. The cautions kind of slowed it down, took some game planning out of it a little bit. But yeah, Cameron, I mean, he's lights out too every time he's here. So, I'm just glad it worked out. I saw Cameron take pit there with about 5 to go, and I didn't like the call, but a great recovery for him to get back on the podium. I mean, that's a great run for him as well.
Yeah, shaping up to be a pretty strong season. You guys only got about 3 races left before the playoffs, and David Hara, yourself, McQuaid, now Cameron Harris throwing himself into the mix there late, Joshua Hetrick as well. This league really starting to come together and really going to have a lot of really good drivers making the playoffs this season. It's looking to shape up to be the best season yet.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we all know what Patrick can do, what Cameron can do, David Hara, Josh. Shout out to old Frederick Cool there, coming home in 6th tonight, and the newcomer there, James. Great run for him as well. But yeah, we got a great group of guys. Looking forward to getting into the chase here and duking it out with those guys. But feels great. The Lucky Dog Detailing car wins the Lucky Dog Detailing 100 tonight. So glad to put it in victory lane for them. The race sponsor and my primary sponsor. So shout out to them as well.
Yeah, appreciate you, David. We'll look forward to moving into, I think next week. I know you guys have another off week coming up. But it's not next week. Let me take a look here.
Yes, I believe it's next week, Faded.
Yeah, it is next week. Okay, so you guys get a week off before heading into Indianapolis, so enjoy that week off. I know I will, and we'll catch up with you guys in 2 weeks at Indianapolis.
Absolutely awesome. Thank you for broadcasting this, and it was fun. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it, buddy. Race winner David Lurfano taking home his 3rd checkered of the night. We're going to bring in his teammate, David Hara, driving that 15 car. David, you were in my mentions a little bit earlier today, and I quoted you on stream. Tonight's going to be about survival. The track is slick from the jump. Tire wear will be a major play tonight, but the wall is going to get the most love tonight. And, man, you couldn't have been any more accurate. It's almost like you predicted the race here. Talk to me a little bit. You still had a strong finish here, P4. Of course, coming in tonight as the point standings leader, you can afford to miss out on some of those podiums. But at one point, it looked like you were going to make a strong run with a podium. I think when I asked a couple of the other drivers, maybe some cautions getting into the way of that, having to regroup back up, everybody having an equal opportunity on those restarts. But you nailed it. Talk to me a little bit about the struggles that everybody had here at Darlington.
Man, these cars were slick. It was like bowling balls for tires, And the blue-gray plastic fab Chevrolet was okay. I mean, in practice times, I could get the times down there, but not consistently. That wall would consistently grab a hold of me. But it was a good run overall. Like you said, this is the first points race outside of the top three, but fourth for a throwaway race. If I have another problem, this will be my throwaway next week. If I have problems elsewhere, we'll drop that one and keep this fourth place. So all in all, good night. Thanks to our race sponsor, Lucky Dawg Detailing, for sponsoring the race, and thanks to David Lufano with HMS for getting that victory, man. I think that's of the points races, that's 4 of the first 5 points races by HMS, so we'll take it.
Yeah, most certainly having a phenomenal season, both individually and team-wise. Larry Garnes, unfortunately, getting wrapped up in some things that weren't necessarily his fault. So a tough night for that iRacing rookie, but having teammates like you guys to lean on to, I'm sure he'll take the off week next week, get some laps in at Indianapolis where you guys will pick back up October 5th. Now, starting October 5th, you'll only have 3 races left before the playoffs. Of course, Dover, Homestead, Miami. You'll crown a regular season championship there at Homestead right now. Teammates, yourself and David Lurfano battling that out. Going into these next 3 races, Indy, Dover, and Miami, what track are you feeling the best at, and what track do you think I might need to run some practice laps for sure?
Well, Indy by far is my is a track I just don't like. It's like Pocono. It's one that I do not like, but I'm gonna get out there whether I like it or not, and I'm gonna learn it, and I'm gonna get better at it. And I would say Homestead is probably be my best chance at another victory, but we're going to keep pushing and try to win every week.
Yeah, of course, picking up your first win with All-American Racing League earlier this season. Like you said, your first points race, finishing outside of a podium there in P4. David, congratulations on that. Enjoy your week off. We'll catch back up with you in Indy.
Yeah, thank you, Faded.
All right, before I let you guys at home go, of course, we got to talk about some sponsors. Lucky Dawg Detailing, not only sponsoring David Lurfano, but sponsoring tonight's race. So shout out to Lucky Dawg Detailing. I'd like to thank our partner here at Faded TV, McConey Setup Shops. Use code FADEDTV for 15% off all products, subscriptions, and coaching. If you guys are looking to get out of those fixed series races and try an open series race on iRacing.com, or if you're looking to, if you're in an open league and you're looking for some setups, don't be shy. Reach out. Get on McConeySetupShops.com. Use code FADEDTV, and save some money along the way. Real honor to be working with those guys. They work with, some of the Coca-Cola series, some real pros over there. So certainly worth checking out if you're looking at running some of these open setups officially, or if you're in an open setup league. Check them out. So Lucky Dawg Detailing, McConey Setup Shops. We appreciate you guys. We are off next week. You guys take care of each other. Take care of yourselves. We'll catch you back 2 weeks. Indianapolis. We'll see you next time.